I learned a family secret a few months ago about why my stepsister isn't allowed to live with us or be around me. Posted by you/ConsistentDirt788. I lost my mother when I was very young, and my father remarried the woman I grew up calling Mom. Mom has an older son and a daughter who is about 12 years older than me. It was never a secret that Mom wasn't my biological mother. I see my stepbrother on the holidays, but I've had zero contact with my stepsister. I recently learned why that was. My mom and stepsister moved in after she and my dad got married. I don't remember my stepsister being very nice, and then she was just gone. I was told she had to go away for a while. Mom brought me everywhere with her, the store, her friends' places, the zoo, etc. She helped me get ready for school and helped me with my schoolwork. She even watched a handful of kids' movies in theaters that, looking back, were likely indecipherable nonsense to her, all 3 of those Pokemon movies, for example. She cried at my high school graduation, even though she promised me she wouldn't. She was my mom, she loved me to bits. All the while, she never erased my mother. She and my dad would look at photos of my mother, and dad would tell stories. Mom always said she wished she had met her. My father and maternal grandfather made a photo album for me after my mother died so I would have something to remember her by. I have that photo album in my apartment and have been looking at it a lot lately. Here's the kicker, it's not the original photo album. I never saw the original photo album. What made my mom disown my stepsister is that she burned the original after my mom scolded her for being rude to my father and me. Mom discovered what had happened because my stepsister and her friends had done it together, and one of her friends felt so guilty that she confessed to her own mom, who then called my mom. Mom kicked my stepsister out of the house and had movers take her things to her dad's house. Dad came home to my mom, who explained in tears what had happened. She and my dad then went around to family, friends, both close and distant, and even my mother's alma mater to look for photos of my mom to try to make a new album. Dad told me everyone in their lives rose to the occasion. They were able to build a new album, even if some of the original photos and Polaroids were gone forever, they had new photos from Mom's college friends. I asked Dad if my stepsister ever apologized or tried to reach out, and he confirmed that she tried, but Mom fundamentally wants nothing to do with her. I've thought a lot about forgiveness and family these last few months. I never knew about the original album, so I didn't have much of a reason to hate my stepsister. I do think the album was likely the last straw for Mom and wasn't the primary problem, even though destroying the album was cruel and kind of evil. I don't plan on talking to my mom about it. I think it would be better to respect her desire to continue not having a relationship of any kind with my stepsister. My only plan is to make sure to give both of my folks big hugs. Commenter. How old was Stepsis when this occurred? Ops response. Stepsis was 18, maybe 19. Update 3 days later. I made a post a few days ago about learning that the photo album made of photos of my deceased mother was actually a replacement album. I was just getting something off my chest and was surprised by the responses I got. I texted my mom to let her know I was aware of what happened and asked if I could call her to talk about it. We talked and clarified some things my dad had likely forgotten. Even before she started seeing my dad, my mom and stepsister were having problems. Her ex-husband was a fair-weather parent and wasn't very supportive. During her last 2 years of high school, my stepsister became part of a clique of girls who were constantly in trouble. My mom had to deal with several accusations of bullying and other poor behavior. She tried to get my stepsister into counseling or therapy, but my stepsister refused outright. At a certain point, you can't force someone to go to therapy if they don't want to. My mom tried grounding her and taking away privileges. My stepsister had also been lying about applying to colleges, so the final few months before graduation were a mad dash to apply for schools. Eventually, they gave up and had her apply to community college instead. When my mom married my dad and moved the both of them into my dad's house, the only expectations my mom gave my stepsister were to be nice and tidy. She was never expected to babysit me. Despite this, she couldn't follow those simple guidelines, clashing almost every day with my mom and dad, and she would even raise her voice at me, I was 6 years old at the time, for watching TV or playing in the backyard. My stepsister only lived in that house for a little over a month before my mom sent her away. The breaking point happened even before the photo album incident. My mom told her ex-husband that he had to take their daughter for a while. My stepsister was furious because her father lived an hour away, and she wouldn't be able to see her friends, but my mom stood firm. She decided my stepsister couldn't stay with them due to the way she had been treating everyone. My stepsister must have found the album and called her friends to meet up with her, where they burned it in a bonfire. When my mom asked why she had done it, my stepsister said she thought it would be funny to take something from my dad and me that we would miss. My mom ended up kicking her out right then and there, calling movers that same day. She was furious, upset, and panicking because she thought her marriage might have just ended. However, my dad never blamed my mom for what had happened. My mom told me she didn't feel any desire to reconnect with my stepsister when she reached out a few years ago. She can't let go of my stepsister's deliberate cruelty, not just to her and my dad, but also to me. My stepsister was an adult when she did what she did. In her absence, my mom had a wonderful husband and 2 sons, my older stepbrother and me, who were kind to her. All of my relatives loved her. She admitted that her mental health had improved considerably without my stepsister in her life. She had wanted to prioritize the people in her life who weren't toxic. She assured me, however, that she hadn't left my stepsister with nothing. She still had full access to a college fund that my mom set up for her when she was born, and she would still receive an inheritance. My mom ended the call by telling me she still felt horrible about what happened to the original photo album and wished those memories of my mother weren't gone forever. I told her it was okay and that I appreciated the lengths she and my dad went to in replacing it before telling her I loved her. To address a few commenters, I did not, and still do not, have any desire to talk to my stepsister. I just wanted to know the whole story.